What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. OG here, and I have a special video for you today because you are going to hear how eFootball can finally take the crown of king of all football video games after 30 years of being second place to EA Sports and FC, formerly known as FIFA. Now, there are so many players out there that love this game because historically it has stayed true to football. Unfortunately, over the recent years, KONAMI has ventured towards catering to the lower skill, lower level players, and that has led to a lot of issues that make this game so frustrating. But the main reason it's so frustrating is because at its core, they have that true football feel that no other football game has. And they could easily get back to this, which would make them 100% the best football game. Now, we are going to go over this list, which was compiled by OGFC community member Type Shit. You could laugh at the name, however, this is some king type shit without a doubt because everything he states on here is spot on. And not only did he list everything KONAMI could follow to make their game the very best game, but he also put rankings by demand. He put in the difficulty level to make these changes, categorize them. I mean, this is incredible. Added the feature as well as side notes too. So he put the blueprint out there. If KONAMI could just get a hold of this and actually wanted their game to be the best of the best, which why wouldn't they? That would mean more players and more money without a doubt. And if they could just get a hold of this, they would at least read over it, you would think, right? Why wouldn't they? Unless they're so pompous and arrogant that they would just throw it away, which maybe they would. However, it's worth putting this list into the atmosphere, hoping that this will catch on, and maybe, just maybe, by chance, KONAMI comes across it, and we might just get some King eFootball type shit out of this list made by Type Shit. So, we will start with all of the lowest demand items and go to the highest demand items. First on the list, dynamic shooting. Add a timed shooting mechanic, which is what I've been talking about a lot lately. Lock-on passing / pass queuing. Improves passing fluidity and attack flow. Next thing would be manufacturing player runs. Obviously, with the player runs in the game, it's all AI. You're not able to, like in FC, use L1 or R1 to send players on runs, call players to, or even player lock, which in FC you do by clicking in both of your analog sticks. That would be absolutely huge because a lot of times we're looking, the player's running next to the ball, and you can't change it. You have to use super cancel to actually pull players to or send players on runs, and it's just not realistic. As he says, encourages movement off the ball because right now that's an unrealistic feature in the game that they could easily change. I mean, it's the most frustrating thing in the world when you're parallel to the ball and your player doesn't change his path to get the ball like he would in real life, right? And sometimes super cancel, it doesn't register. Now, if they just added, commands in there where we could change the runs, that would make the game immensely better. Just that alone, it makes no sense to me why they don't do that. So that is absolutely a worthwhile change. Next on the level 1 demand list, we have tactics-based playstyle system. Type Shit says assign playstyles and tactics instead of locked on card. After that, physics-based ball control. More realism in first touches. And last but not least, fully custom tactics plus quick changes. Live tactic changes mid-match. So the gist of this I'll summarize as being that the game only allows partial movement, partial action from a player, when in reality a player does several different roles, right? Whereas eFootball only allows the player and the team to do one thing. I'll explain. FC has this problem too with play styles, player roles, and the changes they've made over the years that really limits the players, whereas previously they had it actually better where players would act more like they do in the game. So if you're a roaming flank instead of a prolific winger, the truth is that you would do both in game. Like Vinny Jr. at times is what the role says, a prolific winger, and at times a roaming flank. Same with Salah. As a striker, there are times when, I don't know, you can name any striker. Let's say Kohler, big boy Kohler. He is a target man, but if you watch his career, he wasn't only a target man. At times, he acted as an advanced striker when you read what eFootball has that role as. At times, he acted as a deep-lying forward. You can't just limit these players to these roles, right? You have to either A, have no roles at all in this sense, or B, you have to allow each player to have multiple roles so that they actually act fully as they do in game, not just part of what they do in game. And that is the biggest problem. Same with the team play styles. When you're using quick counter and your players are just running away, or long ball counter and your players are running away, or possession and all your players do is come towards the ball, that is the easiest thing in the world to defend, and that's not how football works. What is the number one thing you were taught in football, right? Is you get a little bit deeper into the game. You take the defender away from where you want the ball, right? And then you come towards the ball, or you pull the defender towards the ball and then run away so you can lose your mark. In the sense of eFootball, how they use these play styles, the team only does one thing or the other. So you win the ball and your team's either running away or coming right to or always going wide. That isn't the case. The opponent could easily read that, right, as you do in eFootball, and you know which play style, and then they know exactly where you're going each time. That's where, at the very least, if they have these play styles, they have to give you the ability to have manual run control, so you can call your player to, or call him to, then send him away, just anything to throw the defender off so it's not as obvious, and so it's more free-flowing like real football. The individual play styles, that's the same thing. You can't limit a player to only doing some of what he would do in game. That is a huge fix that would make the actual flow of the game much more realistic. Now, getting back to the list, we also basically covered the 2-star demands on here, which first of all would be selectable playstyles per card, choose role for each card without duplicates, and then expand tactics menu, more formations, roles, and behaviors. Like I was just saying, you can't just limit the players, limit your team for the sake of adding different features to each player to each team. Otherwise, you aren't truly playing with a Mo Salah or a Kohler or a Romario or a Hullet or anybody. You're not truly playing like they played in real life. So what's the point of having these players with their names and their player IDs and whatnot when they aren't even fully functioning as they did? It's the same with the team and the play styles and whatnot. Let's say you want to play like Man City or Liverpool or somebody else, or even if you want to make your own custom tactic, you are very limited in doing that. For instance, I like to play possession football, but at times there is going to be what, like, say an opponent is super pressure oriented, they have a high line, and playing some short passes is going to put me into a dangerous spot because the pressure is so high up the pitch and they're right on me. What would I do then? I would open up the pitch with some long balls. Now, let's say a team is deeper and I want to play shorter, right? I might change that midway through the game. They might change their tactic midway through the game. But with the way the game works, they don't allow that. You have to choose one or the other. What am I going to do? Play long ball counter, pause, go to possession, then they're going to pause, and when I go to possession, they're going to start pressuring. Then when I go to long ball tactics, they're going to pause and go to their backup tactic because they have a manager with different proficiencies. I mean, it's not realistic. That's where my man Type Shit says, add in the ability to make quick changes on the fly, so that would take care of that. And then, if you take away all the limitations with the player roles and play styles and stuff, you would have a free-flowing game that's much more true to actual football. And moving on to our 3-star demands, if you will. It's not really a star on his list, but we'll just call it the 3-star demand list. One that I will speak in general on as opposed to just what he says here, which is the return of the Master League co-op edit mode, right? These are the most demanded content modes that all the players want back, especially this Master League. Now, me personally, I don't care about the Master League, but it's all about the entire player base, and I know that they want that. I will just speak in this sense. This game needs more modes. They need much more content overall. It is severely lacking, and that's an area where FC takes the cake without a doubt. Like, it's not even a close competition, right? On the pitch, if eFootball gets their act together with a lot of the stuff we talked about, they can take over. But content-wise, in modes, they need a ton of work. So that was one I wanted to start with, because whether it's Master League, which even if they added Master League, it's not enough. They need to add much more. They need to add some kind of draft mode, for instance. I mean, it's insane with all of these true-to-life legends they have. I mean, they knock them out of the water, whereas FC botches icons, as they call them, over and over and over again. If they added a draft mode to really highlight these players, these epic players that they call them, and these legends that they make perfectly in some cases, but at least hit the mark on in all cases, they would have so much more players that want to play, even if it was just for that mode alone, much less all of the fanfare they would get if they added the Master League back that so many players want. Now for the rest of the 3 starter demands, I'll go from the top. Tone down AI defensive assistance. AI too perfect defensively, kills user control. Improve passing speed and accuracy. Passing feels delayed and inconsistent. Fix defender versus forward speed imbalance. Defenders too fast compared to stats. Make dribbling usable again. Dribbling ineffective, especially in 1v1s. Improve player movement. Movement feels heavy and clunky. And finally, adjust ball player speed ratio. Ball too slow, players too fast. So that right there is the complete list from Type Shit. And obviously, this is brilliant. You've heard me talk about a lot of these things over my time in eFootball. You've heard a lot of the content creators talk about many of these things. However, I will say that many of the content creators seem to want to be on Konami's good side, or like many other games as well, they fear that if they speak bad about the game, the viewers will catch on and say, why do I even play this game? And they will lose views, which loses them money. And so they essentially lie to you guys. That's what was happening with me when I was a content consumer as opposed to a content creator. That's what inspired me, out of one of many things that inspired me, to become a content creator. Because I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell the truth no matter what. That's why, even though UFL is the game where I got the highest rank, where I get the most views because I started my channel around it, and I still don't play that because it's a nonsense game and I know it's a money grab from those developers, and I'm not going to back that. I'm not going to promote that to people who look for guidance, who might not know better, right? I was the same way many times. I had to sift through so much BS with content creators that I ended up just saying, you know what, I'm going to learn this stuff myself, and when I am able to do so, I'm going to help other people. This list from Type Shit, this getting out, this will help other players if we can get it spread and Konami can get a hold of it. I don't think there's anybody, no matter what level they play eFootball at, that can deny that this list alone, if followed, could make eFootball a great game and take it back to what makes Konami's football games the truest of football. I mean, speaking on the defending side, I don't think anybody would look at the defensive system in eFootball and say, oh yeah, that's true to football. And of course, as Type Shit says, it ruins many other things, right? You look at the speed boost that the defenders get, and it just totally takes away the option to freely dribble. Now, don't get this confused with the players like Roberto Baggio, Vinicius, Messi, these players feeling good on the ball or not, because yes, they do feel good on the ball, but because of the defensive pressure, combined with that boost of speed the defense gets, it makes it nearly impossible to truly dribble in this game, right? To freely dribble like you would in real football. How many players know what I'm talking about when I say that panic feel in eFootball, right? When a team is pressing you and the ball's coming, you almost feel like it's hot potato. You have to pass quickly. Otherwise, it's going to be either stripped off your feet, or even if you try to dribble, the defender stays on you, right on top of you, and you get the ball stripped away. That is not realistic. So in reality, this defensive system alone kills passing, right? Because you have to rush your passes. It kills dribbling because you can't free flow dribble because there's the pressure. And even without the pressure, they like stick to you like white on rice, which isn't true. You should be able to make hard cuts, especially with good dribblers, and the defender is going to need a couple of steps, which creates space through dribbling. You can never create space through dribbling, through hard cuts. You can never create space through passing. The defenders essentially have a speed boost button, which isn't realistic at all. It's not like you can sprint and then hit the rocket button up your butt and now you sprint even faster. And not only that, but they have a missile honing system where they lock onto the ball and just chase after it like no other. Like when you hold down X, the player controlled pressure button, your player doesn't even follow the runs or any shift in the runs. They literally lock on the ball. Meaning in eFootball's world, the defender wouldn't even care about being between the goal and the player with the ball, they totally just ignore all defensive principles and say, I'm going to get that ball, which actually when you hold down X sometimes can hurt you, right? Because the players can just slice you up since the defenders aren't taking actual runs that they would take, the actual angles to cut off the next pass or to cut off the player from going to goal. But when you're not in that scenario, that X button can absolutely be overpowered on the defensive side. And it just needs to go away altogether, whether it helps the defense or whether you use it and helps the offense because the defender takes an inaccurate path to getting the ball. They need an entire new defensive system, and that would open up all these other areas, including defense, because the new system hopefully would actually create a skill gap where you can be skilled in defending within eFootball. Right now, there is no such thing as that because it's all AI and overpowered pressure because of the speed boost and just the way they do defense. So you fix these things, and once again, you make the game true to football. Historically speaking, that's why players love these football games, right? Especially true footballers who want to experience true football on the sticks. So well done type shit. This is what you get when you join our Discord. We have so many people like this, so many brilliant footballing minds, football gaming minds, so many brilliant tech minds as well. I mean, everything. There's so many amazing people you'll meet. So make sure you go to the link in the bio and join our OGFC community on Discord. My name on Discord, by the way, if you don't want to follow the link, if you just want to look it up, it's O-G_Gamester. That's O-G_Gamester. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Of course, if you truly did like this video. If not, I don't want you to BS me. Please make sure to leave your feedback in the comments section, what you thought of this list. Would you add anything, change anything, and what you think of the channel overall. I mean, whatever it is, any of your feedback is welcome and always appreciated. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.